Hi, in this unit, we are going to cover how do you pick good metrics? How do you define good metrics? Well, there are so many metrics in so little time. It is extremely easy to go overboard with the number of metrics that you track because each metric feels important. But don't worry, that's a problem everyone faces. Picking good metrics, by good metrics, I mean the metrics that can give real meaningful insight, is not easy. You will need good practice to be able to spot the signal from the noise. Like in this dashboard, I'm 100% sure that one of the most important metric would be just the speed at which the vehicle is at the moment, right? A lot of other metrics might not be that important. And that's why if you look at the size of the dials, that give you a good indicator of what is important, what is not so important. So for example, you have been tasked to improve search experience on the app. There are many things to look at. We want to improve search experience. What does that mean? Search results are not displayed correctly, or the search results are not relevant, or they are plain incorrect. Query suggestion is not present, or real-time search results don't work, right? There are just an endless barrage of things to talk about, right? And in this barrage, the important thing is you need to look at the data which impacts this improving search experience the most. You need to identify what does this exactly mean end of the day, right? So pragmatic product leaders, when confronted with such scenarios, they will always start with the end. Okay, you'll always start with the end. What that means is you'll identify the goal and hypothesis. You'll sit with the business team to identify what's the core goal. Yes, we want to improve search experience, but what exactly in search experience have you observed that you believe is wrong or needs to be improved, right? Then establish a baseline. Then go out, speak to your industry peers, um, talk to people on LinkedIn, look for research available, look for available content, available data about your industry, and you find out your industry benchmarks. Okay, measure your current numbers and set it as a baseline. It's very important to set a baseline. It might seem like a uh, wasteful exercise, but trust me, this is very important because without this, you will not be able to measure the effectiveness um, of your all your activities. So you'll not be able to exactly identify whether it was worth it or not. And if it's worth it, for example, if you realize that by investing, let's say $100, you are able to gain a value of, let's say, $150, then just a growth engine. You just need to keep putting in more money, and you have to keep getting $150. You're getting a arbitrage of about $50, right? So once you have established a baseline, the next step is triangulate the factors. So list down and triangulate the possible factors impacting the business goal. And finally, experiment and iterate. So you have to design and run an experiment. Now, depending on the resources available to you, you have to be very, very frugal, right? Both in terms of resources and in terms of how much time do you have to actually run your experiments, right? Or how much evidence do you have to support your hypothesis? Maybe sometimes you have to run very, very frugal, very, very agile experiments to gather some evidence to further, to be able to claim more resources, that give me more resources. See, I have some initial evidence to prove that I can improve the metrics by X numbers, right? So for example, users not clicking on products. Now you have to create a hypothesis around this. Users not clicking on products can be because pictures are not exciting, the prices are too high, too many products on the page, search results are not relevant to query, filters are not very well defined, so they do not have the right filter categories. For example, filters are too few, filters are not working well, there's too many options, right? So I can go on, but you get the drift. You lay out the possible suspects and have to quickly triangulate around what can be the main culprits. Let's say the industry average is 20% conversion from search result page to product details page. You are doing 10%. That is a significant gap. And you're looking at major issues. If pictures were so bad, you will notice. If they're already good but may not be clicked from the right angle or are not descriptive enough, it is safe to assume that the impact from this enhancement will not create huge difference. Yes, contingent to the condition that you are selling regular items. If you're selling luxury goods, then yes, pictures might make or break the entire thing. or the prices are too high. This is a possible case, and in that scenario, maybe industry average doesn't apply to you since you sell a high value item. One way to check if this is your culprit is by looking at the graph of clicks versus price. If price was a major contributor in clicks, then this is one of your culprits. The magnitude of impact should be evaluated after this. Also, you can run few experiments to validate the hypothesis. So you can give a discount on few selected products, ones who have not been performing despite appearing in search results regularly. Now, if suddenly they shoot up, then your audience is price sensitive and is willing to buy an otherwise perceived inferior product. Did you see what I did there? I defined the constraints of the experiment very specifically. Not any product, but only those products which have not been performing well. But that's not all. These products should also be appearing in search results frequently. After all, we are working to improve search experience, right? Another reason could be too many products on the page. This should not drop the conversion by 10%. This will typically cause people to drop out after clicking on few products, right? So you can test out against this also, that whether people are so in all the search queries where the search results were too many, did people is there a significantly higher bounce rate um, after clicking the search results or not? If that is the case, then this could be the culprit. Another reason could be search results are not relevant to query, and this is a very big problem, and it has the potential to create huge drops. How do you check if this can be a potential culprit? Imagine a user experience where the search results are not relevant. In a typical session, he will perform a search, scroll a bit, and then click a product if it's relevant enough. Then, because product didn't satisfy him or he wants more options, he does another research with a tweaked query and does the same actions. So if you look at the queries per session and plot against number of products clicked, you will be able to see high number of queries against very few clicks, and that's your culprit. Bingo. Similar analysis can be done for other options too, but what I want to draw your attention to is how carefully we selected the metrics that matter and figured out a method to draw insight. Higher the ratio of queries per session and number of clicks, poorer the search results are. For instance, one can argue that user may not be clicking because he didn't like the products that we are showing. No issue with our search results. Very valid point. In which case, you will similarly define a new metric and assess it to derive your insight. Moral of the story is picking a good metric is hard work and you need to be meticulous. They can make or break your business. And what are the kinds of metrics that exist? Well, broadly, the metrics belong to one or more of these buckets. So there will be efficiency indicators, there will be effectiveness indicators, capacity indicators, productive indicators, and so on, right? And once you know the problem area, whether it is a capacity problem or efficiency problem, you can then zero down on the relevant indicators. So this is a good categorization of indicators which you should be looking at, because that also helps you in having a very clear idea about the metric that you are looking at or have been looking at so far. Which category does it belong to, and what is the end result I'm going to get to? For example, if there is a metric which improves effectiveness, uh, and you know that this metric is belongs in the effectiveness category, and you are actually improving quality, so maybe this is something you do not have to worry about right now, correct? So that helps in zeroing down on your exact problem set. So to conclude, picking the right metrics is difficult, but it's much more logical than anything else. If you can logically deduce from your problem statement, you will be able to approach a good metric, and there's no silver bullet to this. That's it for now. Take care.